My name is Tessa Hartsell, and today I will be conducting my servant leader interview on Lene King. She is our Director of Nursing here at Cabarrus Hospice, and I want to thank you for letting me interview you, and I think you have some great leadership skills and styles, and I hope to one day be able to show my leadership like you do yours today. So I'm going to just ask you a few questions, and you just answer them as you would like. My first question is, what do you think that you could do in your leadership role to empower others?
So for me, I don't like to dictate decisions. I like to involve others in the decision-making process. And I feel like, if something's working well, then that's what we need to keep going with. But if there's something we need to make some improvements, then, I want to go to the person that I would consider the expert in that area. For example, if we need to make changes in how we document something, I'm probably not the best person to make that decision because I'm not the one out in the field doing that documentation. So for me, I want to involve everyone. I want them to have a buy-in for our decisions. And, then I feel like when you have that buy-in and you have that support, then it just helps build your team together too. And to value each one's opinions and thoughts in that process.
I agree. I think everybody sort of having an input and everything makes a difference, and it makes your wheels start turning too, and thinking of other ways and possibly other options on how to make it, work. What do you consider your leadership strengths? What do you think it takes to be a good leader?
So I think it depends, but for me, I think trying to lead by example. I think I try to stay cool, calm, collected. I think by involving others whenever I can, I think then they come to respect me for those times when I do have to make a decision without somebody's input and we need to move forward with something quickly. Then I think that helps to gain their respect a little bit more. And so, because those times come up when you just have to make a decision and you have to do something. But I think when those times do come up, then I think the staff then kind of have your back and you have their back. And when you know that of each other, then they know that while they might not agree with the decision, they know you're making it for that reason and they're going to respect it at the moment. And then hopefully it all works out in the end and you can kind of understand each other and explain it.
Over. And I think you do a good job at that as far as, you communicate to us as much as you can when time permits. So that sort of helps us realize that you're not keeping us in the dark, that you are communicating. And then when those situations do arise where you have to make a decision and you don't really have time to ask however many nurses their opinion, we sort of know you still have our back, and when time allows, you communicate with us. So I really appreciate that. And what role do you allow fellow staff members to play in collaborating on decisions? And this sort of touches on what you just, you said as far as.
So with that, I think we have several different projects that we've worked on. And so I think, finding different staff members that have different interests. For example, soon we'll have a project coming up on falls, so finding a staff member who, has the passion to want to help with that too. So I think doing that, and involving them on those different committees and in those different avenues, again, I think it just helps all over the place to have that buy-in and that feedback. I certainly don't want to implement something that's not going to truly work and that's going to fail. So whatever is implemented, I want everyone to feel comfortable with what we do.
Okay. And similar here, how do you handle feedback and suggestions when negotiating changes and improvements?
So overall, I feel for the most part that staff, that my door's always open, and that I feel that even though I haven't been here very long, I do feel that I've been able to quickly kind of gain the respect of the staff. So I do feel that most are open to coming to me, and they do come to me with concerns or things and problems, And I feel like so far, I've been able to kind of report back to the staff in our meetings and, one-on-one time to make sure that I do follow up and address any concerns that have been brought to me. So I think knowing that I'm going to follow through on, whatever I say I'm going to follow through, or at least follow up and let them know where things are at. So I think that communication becomes a big piece of that.
All right, I agree. And as far as, you were in my initial interview, and since that first day, I sort of had like a calming, you sort of have like a calming presence about you. Just the way you handle things, and even when you're feeling, I feel like, even though I was in hospice before, coming, you feel unsure of yourself, so you have that like calming, like it's going to be okay, and everything will sort of fall into place. So that I think helps a lot of the staff. You just have like a welcoming. I feel like I can come to you for anything, so I think that's really important. And then last, as far as being a servant leader, would you describe yourself as a servant leader? And if so, can you give us an example of your faith?
So I do, and at first, whenever you sent this to me and asked me about this, I was thinking of servant leader and kind of how I think of that. And to me, I guess I think of that as, I rely on my faith, and I haven't shared with you, but I am a Christian, and so I do rely on my faith to get me through quite a bit. And I feel that in a leadership role, I feel like kind of that leading by example, because I feel like I have to be careful in some of the words that I choose and say, but I feel that my actions probably speak louder than the words at times. So that's how I try to live my life, and so that's also how I try to lead. To treat each other like I want to be treated.
Right.
And there's good in everybody, and to try to find that good and help. How do we grow it, and how do we help mold it and shape it? And support each other to get to. We all have the same mutual goal, and so how do we support each other to get there?
I agree. And actions do speak a lot louder than words.
Right.
Words can be meaningless if your actions don't follow. So thank you so much
You're
for
welcome.
this.
You're
and on this busy week, too. Let's see if I can get this thing cut off properly.